Welcome back to this week's edition of Business Forum. We take a look at the tax proposals in the 2015-26 financial year. And Kenneth Wide talked to Nelly Businje, the director of the Southern and Eastern African Trade Information and Negotiations Institute sitting in Uganda, on progressive and regressive tax proposals that may change directly the business environment. First, he asks her for her view on Uganda's tax proposals.
So basically we did come up with a small paper where we gave our observations and recommendations. There are a number of them that are kind of progressive in the sense that they have a positive side to them. For instance, there is an increment on excise duty on fuel, diesel, both diesel and petrol. We thought that it's a welcome idea because government says it's an insignificant increment and it should not affect fuel prices. But we did emphasize to them, even when we went and met members of parliament, that the increment may be insignificant, but it doesn't stop the fuel companies from increasing prices on fuel. And so we're recommending to them that they really need to put in stringent mechanisms to regulate those prices. Because if they say that they're increasing maybe from, they said 950 shillings to 1,000 shillings excise duty, it still has an implication on prices, and we feel that is going to still go back to the final consumer and then have an impact on business, cost of doing business, travel. Everyone will want to increase prices because of fuel. But there was also an excise. They removed excise duty on incoming calls from within the region, that is East African region.
Roaming.
Yes, and they had. And we thought that was good because, for one thing, it is communication. They charge you when you get calls from other countries within the region. And we felt that was a very good thing. But we also said that we need the telecom companies to follow through that. Sometimes they can be very fishy when it comes to such exemptions. And so we thought, no, they need to make sure that that is actually adhered to and they do not use that exemption to dodge or evade any other taxes and the like. And so we thought that was a welcome idea.
The excise duty on fuel, it's like we are depending, each financial year, we're so much dependent on looking at fuel as our major source of income, because there's so much imports of vehicles and people are using vehicles, so fuel is automatic. What if people stop importing vehicles?
Well, I don't think they'll ever stop importing vehicles because you see what government also does is they look for the easy way out. Those usually are the easiest taxes to collect, whether it is VAT or so there'll always be an increment, or they'll reintroduce VAT on something, or that kind of thing. Like what happened last year when they reintroduced the VAT on hotels that they had exempted earlier. There's always the easy way out, and that is the argument we're always having with them because they always find the easy taxes to collect, and there are all these issues. Of course, they have said within the government documents that they're going to go into administrative reforms and etc. policy reforms as far as tax is concerned, but you see, at the end of the day, they also have to find other ways of collecting revenue. So we thought that we need, while they are suggesting these other ways, these other proposals that they have set, we look at each of them and their implications, but also look at the general broader tax policy framework in terms of what the government is missing out. There are certain things that they need to address even at the local government level. They concentrate a lot on the central government, and people are constrained. You find someone is paying payee, they are paying local service tax, they are also affected by the consumption taxes. It becomes a huge burden, and so they need to really focus much more broadly.
Fuel companies will say, yes, we are paying extra, so we also need to gain extra by increasing the fuel, and fuel is a determinant of trade.
Yeah, that is the risk generally. The argument that we had with some of the officials we met from government was that the increment is insignificant, they say. However, it still does not stop some of these fuel companies from increasing the price. So for us, we really have to put pressure on government to regulate these companies, because it has an impact. Because what's going to happen, the border man is going to increase the fare, and public service vehicles, even that are used by the majority of Ugandans, are going to increase those fares, which affect the ordinary Ugandan. And like even you as a regular Ugandan who owns a car, you feel the pinch. And that, of course, trading goods from one place to another, transporting goods and services from one place to another is affected. And so for us, it's really having to put pressure on governments to regulate. So
but do you think regulation is possible in a free economy?
It is. At least that's it is. It should be. I mean, we cannot just do everything we want because it's a free economy. There has to be some checks and balances,
You analyze and you see these ones are going to bring trouble in the next 12 months or so in the financial year to come.
They didn't bring any new, like what happened last year with, the whole debate around agricultural inputs. This year they were very silent about those. They did not bring them back after making so much noise about it and coming to an agreement. But there were some that we noted. There were some fees on passports that had come up. And government wants to introduce fees on passports, increase the fees on ordinary passports from 120 to 150, and then also 150 for diplomats. And we thought really that is very unfair, because you cannot put an ordinary person, Ugandan, in the same category as a diplomat. And I know they want to increase revenue. And also there was that proposal they have put to put an express fee, if you want an express passport, at 300,000, because they felt that there are some people who are getting money on the side, about a lot of money just to get people passports very quickly, and so they want to put that into the in more official documents so that you can actually apply for an express passport. But the issue of the diplomat and the ordinary, we feel the amount of money should not be the same. I cannot be a diplomat and we're really accessing the same passport, and we're at a different level. And so we were proposing to them that they maintain the ordinary passport fee at 120, and also increase possibly the diplomat to about 300,000. But also the issue of the express passport, because they talk about you can get it within 2 days, but there are no guarantees. And so we thought, what happens if you do not get it in the 2 days, So I think they want to encourage people to not to pay on the side, so that it is actually known that you can actually get a passport express. But we felt that this is not enough, that they need to actually have remedies if you do not get it within the 2 days and you've actually paid your 300,000. But also the issues of people who may actually even end up paying extra just to even make the process faster, and you end up paying even much more.
To layman's language, how relevant is a passport to building a business empire, to somebody's economy?
It is very important, because it's a travel document. You want to be able to travel far and wide to market your goods, to market your services, and so everyone has an opportunity, should have an opportunity to apply for one and get one.
Now into our regional business highlights. The East African Community EAC Secretariat is set to introduce 5,000 new standards to ease the movement of goods and services. Some of the new standards include seeds standards on maize, soya beans, sunflower, sorghum and groundnuts. Such standards will help address challenges of fake seeds on the market when implemented by producers and government. Other standards will be on sugar and sugar products such as chewing gum, liquid glucose used in the industry, molasses, sugarcane and sweets. These will help facilitate trade in the region. Experts, however, say the new standards could be an answer to the puzzled private sector whose products have been traded for more than 10 years but have no national standards. Kenya Airways has ditched a plan to buy 3 B787-8 Dreamliners and will instead lease them from an Irish firm, a move aimed at boosting the airline's constrained cash flow. The aircraft will be bought by Avas Aviation Trading Limited, which will shoulder the burden of financing their purchases. The first of the 3 Dreamliners was delivered in Nairobi yesterday, with the remaining 2 set to be received in June and July. It is the 7th of the 9 Dreamliners ordered by Kenya Airways under its aggressive expansion plan that has significantly raised its capital expenditure at a time when operational challenges have hurt its revenue growth. Kenya Airways had announced it would borrow an additional $1 billion US. That's equivalent to 94 billion Kenya shillings in the year ended March to finance the purchase of more aircraft, including the Dreamliners. The shift to leasing is expected to reduce the airline's debt load and overall capital expenditure, easing pressure on the loss-making airline. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am Anita Mwangazi. See you soon.